The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Introduction. Welcome to this audiobook summary of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Let me begin with a powerful thought. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. Think about that for a moment. Your habits, not your intentions, not your wishes, not even your talents, shape the results you get in life. Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People has been more than just a book. Since its release in 1989, it has sold over 40 million copies worldwide, translated into dozens of languages, and has become a foundational guide for leadership, personal development, and effectiveness in every field of life. Leaders, CEOs, parents, teachers, and students alike have turned to Covey's principles because they are timeless. They apply regardless of culture, generation, or industry. The central idea of this book is simple yet profound. True effectiveness is not about quick fixes or superficial personality tricks. It's about aligning your character with timeless principles of human effectiveness. These principles are like natural laws. They govern human success the way gravity governs physical reality. Ignore them, and you'll struggle. Live by them, and you'll thrive. Covey introduces a powerful framework for personal growth and maturity. He explains that human development moves through 3 stages. Dependence, where we rely on others for help, support, or direction. Independence, where we learn self-mastery, discipline, and responsibility. Interdependence, the highest level, where we learn to work with others in synergy, collaboration, and mutual benefit. The 7 habits are designed to help us make this journey, from dependence to independence to interdependence. They are sequential and interconnected, each building on the previous one. Here's a quick overview of the journey we'll be taking together. 1. Be proactive. Take responsibility for your life. 2. Begin with the end in mind. Define your vision and goals. 3. Put first things first. Prioritize what matters most. 4. Think win-win. Build relationships of mutual benefit. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Master the art of empathic communication. 6. Synergize. Value differences and create better solutions together. 7. Sharpen the saw. Invest in yourself with continuous renewal. By the end of this audiobook summary, you'll not only understand each habit in detail, but also know how to apply them in your daily life for real transformation. So let's dive in. But before we do, if you're enjoying this content and want more summaries of life-changing books, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Now, let's begin with the foundation, paradigms and principles, the lens through which we see the world. Part 1. Paradigms and Principles. To truly understand the 7 habits, we first need to look at something deeper: paradigms. A paradigm is simply the way we see the world. It's our mental map, our perspective, our lens. Just like a map of a city helps us navigate streets, a paradigm helps us navigate life. The catch is, if the map is inaccurate, no matter how hard you try, you'll keep getting lost. In the same way, if our paradigms are faulty, our behavior and results will always be limited. Stephen Covey emphasizes that the way we see the problem is the problem. If we view life as a competition, our relationships will feel like battles. If we see people as tools, we'll treat them transactionally. But when we shift our paradigm, when we see people as partners, opportunities as abundant, and life as guided by timeless principles, our behavior naturally changes. This brings us to an important distinction: principles versus values. Values are personal. They are what we, as individuals or cultures, consider important. For example, one person might highly value wealth, while another values freedom. Values can differ from person to person. Principles, on the other hand, are universal. They are natural laws of human effectiveness. Principles like honesty, fairness, respect, and integrity are not up for debate. Just like gravity, they apply whether or not you believe in them. Living out of alignment with principles eventually brings frustration, while living in harmony with them brings success and fulfillment. Now, Covey explains that human maturity develops in 3 stages. 1. Dependence. This is where we all begin. As children, we rely on others for food, support, and guidance. In this stage, our mindset is, "You take care of me. You make me happy. You fix my problems." Many adults, unfortunately, never move beyond dependence. They keep blaming others or circumstances for their results. 2. Independence. The next stage is self-mastery. Here, the mindset shifts to, "I can do it. I am responsible. I make my own choices." Independence is empowering. It's the foundation of confidence, discipline, and personal responsibility. 3. Interdependence, the highest stage. This is when independent people realize that working with others creates far greater results than working alone. The mindset becomes, "We can do it. Together is better. Let's synergize." True leadership, meaningful relationships, and lasting success all live in this stage. Covey makes it clear, independence is not the ultimate goal. Yes, independence is essential, but it is only a stepping stone to interdependence. Real effectiveness comes when we learn to collaborate, communicate, and create with others. Think about it, no matter how skilled, talented, or disciplined you are, your greatest successes in life will involve other people, whether in business, family, or community. That's why Covey says that the 7 habits are a step-by-step pathway to move us from dependence, to independence, to interdependence. And with that foundation, we are ready to begin the journey toward effectiveness. The first step is about self-mastery. It's about taking responsibility for your life. That's Habit 1, be proactive. Part 2, private victory. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Imagine attending your own funeral. Family, friends, coworkers, and community members gather to celebrate your life. One by one, people stand up to speak about who you were, the kind of person you became, and the impact you made. Now pause and ask yourself, what would you want them to say? Would they describe you as someone who was kind? Someone who built meaningful relationships? Someone who made a difference? Or would their words focus only on your career, possessions, and achievements? This is not a morbid exercise. It's one of the most powerful ways to clarify what really matters. Because Habit 2, begin with the end in mind, is all about vision. It's about living today with a clear understanding of what you want tomorrow to look like. The importance of vision and goals. Too often, people climb the ladder of success only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. They achieve goals, earn money, build careers, but then discover they sacrificed health, family, or integrity along the way. Habit 2 teaches us that effectiveness begins with clarity. You need to define your destination before you start your journey. Otherwise, you risk wasting your life chasing things that don't truly matter. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't just start laying bricks without an architectural plan. First comes the blueprint, the mental creation. Then comes the physical construction. In the same way, your life must first be designed in your mind, then lived out through your daily actions. All things are created twice. Covey describes this principle with the phrase, "All things are created twice." First creation, the mental creation. This is when you visualize, design, and plan. It's writing the script of your life. Second creation, the physical creation. This is when you actually bring it to life through action and discipline. If you skip the first creation, you risk letting other people, circumstances, or random events write your life script for you. But when you consciously create the vision first, your actions naturally align with it. For example, in business, leaders create mission statements and strategies before launching operations. In personal life, you might imagine the type of partner you want to be before entering a relationship. In education, students decide on their career vision before choosing courses. The question is not whether there will be a first creation. The question is who is doing the creating. Is it you, or is it society, peer pressure, and circumstances? Personal mission statement. The most practical way to live Habit 2 is by creating a personal mission statement. This is a clear, written expression of your values, principles, and purpose. A mission statement answers questions like: what kind of person do I want to be? What values will guide my decisions? What legacy do I want to leave? Unlike goals, which may change with seasons of life, your mission statement is rooted in timeless principles. It becomes a compass, not just a checklist. For example, a personal mission statement might say, to live with integrity, to treat others with kindness, and to use my skills to serve and inspire. Or, to be a loving parent, a loyal friend, and a leader who uplifts others. When you face tough choices, your mission statement becomes the filter. It helps you choose principle over pressure, long-term purpose over short-term gain. Roles and goals for life clarity. Another key part of Habit 2 is recognizing your roles in life. You are not just one thing. You may be a professional, a spouse, a parent, a friend, a community member. Each role deserves attention and vision. Once you identify your roles, set meaningful goals for each one. For example, as a parent, build strong memories with my children through weekly family time. As a professional, grow in my field by learning one new skill each quarter. As a friend, stay connected by reaching out regularly to those I value. As an individual, care for my health with consistent exercise and balanced habits. This keeps life balanced. Too often, people pour everything into one role, usually career, and neglect others. By setting goals across roles, you create harmony and avoid regrets. Living with the end in mind. Let's return to the funeral exercise. If you know what you want people to say about you at the end of your life, you can start living in alignment with that vision today. If you want to be remembered as kind, practice kindness today. If you want to be remembered as wise, keep learning today. If you want to be remembered as a great parent, invest time with your children today. The end gives meaning to the present. Bringing it together. Habit 2 is about intentional living. It reminds us: don't live by default, live by design. Don't let society write your script, write your own. Don't just react to life, envision it. When you begin with the end in mind, every day becomes purposeful. Every action connects to something bigger. And you gain the confidence of knowing that the ladder you are climbing is leaning against the right wall. With a clear vision in place, you're now ready for Habit 3, put first things first, where we move from planning to prioritizing, from vision to execution. Habit 3, put first things first. If Habit 1 was about taking responsibility for your choices, and Habit 2 was about creating a vision for your life, then Habit 3 is where the rubber meets the road. Habit 3 is put first things first. It's about managing your time and energy so that your daily actions align with your deepest values and goals. Time management, focusing on importance, not urgency. Most people are busy. Calendars are full, to-do lists are endless, emails never stop. But here's the truth: being busy is not the same as being effective. You can spend your entire day rushing from one task to another, but if those tasks don't move you closer to your vision, you're just spinning your wheels. Habit 3 teaches us to focus not on what is urgent, but on what is important. Urgency screams at us: the phone ringing, the email notification, the last-minute deadline. Importance whispers: investing in your health, nurturing relationships, planning for the future. Effective people learn to ignore the noise of urgency and give consistent attention to importance. The 4 quadrants, urgent important matrix. To help us understand this, Covey introduces the time management matrix, also known as the 4 quadrants. Imagine a square divided into 4 boxes. 1. Quadrant I, urgent and important. These are crises, deadlines, emergencies. For example, a family emergency, a work project due today. You can't ignore these, but if you live here all the time, life feels like constant firefighting. 2. Quadrant 2, not urgent but important. This is the zone of true effectiveness. Things like exercise, relationship building, strategic planning, skill development. They don't shout for your attention, but they shape your future. This is where highly effective people spend most of their time. 3. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. Interruptions, unnecessary meetings, other people's minor requests. These feel urgent but don't truly matter in the long run. They steal time from what's important. 4. Quadrant 4. Not urgent and not important. Time wasters, mindless scrolling, gossip, trivial entertainment. Occasional relaxation is healthy, but living here leads to wasted potential. The secret of habit 3 is simple. Shift your life into quadrant 2. Spend more time on the things that matter most but aren't urgent. Prevention, preparation, relationships, growth, these are the first things. Prioritization and discipline. Of course, knowing what's important is one thing. Doing it consistently is another. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is the bridge between vision and execution. It's saying no to the less important so you can say yes to what truly matters. Covey puts it this way. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Instead of letting your day be filled with other people's agendas, block time for your most important activities. Protect it like an appointment you cannot miss. For example, schedule exercise before work, not after everything else is done. Block time for deep work instead of drowning in email. Reserve evenings for family instead of letting them be consumed by distractions. This is not about being rigid. It's about being intentional. If you don't decide what matters, someone else will decide for you. Delegation as a leadership tool. Another powerful part of habit 3 is learning to delegate effectively. Many people think delegation means simply giving someone a task. But true delegation is about transferring responsibility for outcomes, not just activities. Covey distinguishes between go for delegation, go for this, go for that. You give instructions step by step. The person depends on you for every move. This saves you no time. Stewardship delegation. You clearly define the desired result, the guidelines, the resources, the accountability, and the consequences. Then you let the person own the responsibility. This builds trust, develops others, and frees you to focus on higher priorities. Effective leaders know they can't do everything. By empowering others, they multiply results while investing in people's growth. Bringing it together. Habit 3 is about execution. It asks, are you living your priorities, or just reacting to demands? Put important things first, not urgent distractions. Invest in quadrant 2, relationships, health, growth, planning. Exercise discipline to align your schedule with your values. Delegate wisely to multiply effectiveness. When you consistently put first things first, life stops feeling like a crisis-driven scramble. Instead, you begin to live with calm clarity, knowing that what you do today connects directly to the life you want tomorrow. With habits 1, 2, and 3, you achieve what Covey calls the private victory, mastery of yourself. You move from dependence to independence. Now you're ready for the next stage, the public victory. Habits 4, 5, and 6 will show you how to master relationships, collaborate with others, and create results far greater than you could achieve alone. The journey continues with Habit 4, Think Win-Win. Part 3, Public Victory. Habit 4, Think Win-Win. So far, we've focused on the private victory, mastering yourself through proactivity, vision, and discipline. Now we move into the public victory, learning to build strong, effective relationships with others. The first step is Habit 4, Think Win-Win. At its core, win-win means seeking mutual benefit in all interactions. It's not about your success or my success, it's about creating outcomes where both of us succeed. Paradigm of abundance versus scarcity. To understand win-win, we need to explore two very different mindsets, scarcity and abundance. Scarcity mentality says that life is a zero-sum game. If you win, I lose. If you succeed, it threatens my success. There's only so much money, recognition, or opportunity to go around. Scarcity breeds jealousy, competition, and mistrust. Abundance mentality says that there's plenty to go around. Your success does not diminish mine. In fact, we can both win together. Abundance creates cooperation, gratitude, and creativity. Think about it. Have you ever worked with someone who acted as though every compliment, every promotion, every achievement had to be hoarded? That's scarcity thinking. Now contrast it with a leader or colleague who celebrates your success and collaborates openly. That's abundance. Win-win is rooted in abundance. It believes in shared success and seeks solutions where everyone benefits. 6 paradigms of human interaction. Covey explains that when we interact with others, there are essentially 6 possible paradigms. 1. Win-win. I win, you win. Mutual benefit, respect, and fairness. This is the goal. 2. Win-lose. I win, you lose. The competitive mindset. For me to succeed, you must fail. This creates resentment. 3. Lose-win. I lose, you win. The people-pleaser mindset. I'll sacrifice my needs so you're happy. This leads to weakness and frustration. 4. Lose-lose. Nobody wins. Driven by spite or revenge. If I can't win, neither will you. Destructive for both sides. 5. Win. As long as I get what I want, I don't care what happens to you. Self-centered and short-sighted. 6. Win-win or no deal. If we can't both win, we walk away. This avoids toxic compromises. Of all these paradigms, win-win is the only one that builds trust, long-term relationships, and sustainable success. Balance of courage and consideration. Now, win-win is not about being nice all the time, nor is it about being soft or compromising on your values. It's about balancing courage and consideration. Courage means standing up for your own needs and principles. Consideration means respecting the needs and principles of others. If you have high courage but low consideration, you fall into win-lose. You dominate others but damage relationships. If you have high consideration but low courage, you fall into lose-win. You're nice, but you sacrifice your own values. Only when you have both courage and consideration can you create win-win. For example, in a business negotiation, a win-lose person might push for maximum profit at the expense of the other side, which eventually kills trust. A lose-win person might accept a bad deal just to avoid conflict. A win-win person seeks a fair deal where both sides leave satisfied, building a foundation for future cooperation. Win-win agreements and their importance. One of the most practical tools of win-win is the win-win agreement. A win-win agreement clearly defines 1. Desired results. What do we want to accomplish? 2. Guidelines. What boundaries or principles must be followed? 3. Resources. What support is available? 4. Accountability. How will progress be measured? 5. Consequences. What happens if goals are met or not met? When both parties create and commit to such an agreement, trust is strengthened, expectations are clear, and collaboration thrives. For instance, imagine you're leading a team. Instead of micromanaging, you sit down with your team member and define outcomes, resources, and accountability. You both agree on the standards. The result? They feel empowered, you feel confident, and the relationship strengthens. Bringing it together. Habit 4 is about shifting from competition to collaboration, from scarcity to abundance. It asks you to adopt a new paradigm. There's enough success for both of us. Think abundance, not scarcity. Strive for win-win in all relationships. Balance courage with consideration. Use clear agreements to create trust. When you consistently think win-win, you don't just win deals or arguments. You win relationships, you win loyalty, and you win long-term success. With win-win as the foundation, we're now ready for habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is where communication transforms from talking and persuading into truly listening and connecting. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Communication is at the center of all relationships. Whether at work, at home, or in the community, our ability to connect with others often determines our success. But here's the problem: most people don't truly listen. They don't listen to understand, they listen to reply. While the other person is speaking, they're already preparing their counterargument, their advice, or their story. Habit 5 challenges us to flip the script. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Empathic listening as the foundation of communication. Covey explains that the highest form of listening is empathic listening. This goes beyond just hearing words. Empathic listening means listening with the intent to understand. To step inside the other person's world, to see things as they see them, and to feel what they feel. Think of the difference. Most people listen autobiographically. They relate everything back to themselves. If you say, "I'm really stressed at work," they respond, "Oh, I know exactly how you feel. Let me tell you about my boss." They're not really listening. They're redirecting the conversation to themselves. Empathic listening, on the other hand, might respond, "It sounds like you're carrying a lot of pressure right now. What's been the hardest part for you?" This response doesn't judge or solve, it seeks to understand. Empathic listening is not about agreeing with someone. It's about giving them psychological air, the feeling of being heard, valued, and understood. The 5 levels of listening. Covey outlines 5 levels of listening, and only the 5th is truly effective. 1. Ignoring. You're not listening at all. Maybe you're on your phone, or distracted. 2. Pretending. You give the appearance of listening, with nods and ahas, but your mind is elsewhere. 3. Selective listening. You hear only what interests you, filtering out the rest. 4. Attentive listening. You pay attention to the words, but still from your own perspective. 5. Empathic listening. You listen to understand feelings, meaning, and intent. You're fully present, seeking to grasp the other person's reality. Most people rarely get beyond level 4. But level 5, empathic listening, is where trust and connection are built. Principle: diagnose before you prescribe. Covey uses a powerful metaphor for medicine: diagnose before you prescribe. Imagine going to a doctor with a serious pain, and without asking questions, the doctor says, "Here, take these pills." You'd feel uneasy, right? Because the doctor hasn't even understood the problem. Yet this is exactly how we often treat people. They share a concern, and we rush in with advice, solutions, or stories, without truly understanding their situation. Effective communication requires patience. First, diagnose, listen, ask questions, reflect back what you're hearing. Then, and only then, offer your perspective. The power of understanding in relationships. When you practice habit 5, something remarkable happens. People open up. Barriers drop. Trust deepens. Why? Because feeling understood is one of the deepest human needs. In families, a teenager may resist constant lectures, but when parents truly listen without judgment, walls come down and honest conversations begin. In leadership, a manager who listens empathically to employees creates loyalty and motivation. People feel valued when they are heard. In conflict resolution, understanding someone's perspective doesn't mean agreeing with them, but it does mean acknowledging their feelings. This often diffuses tension and opens the door to solutions. Once you've given the gift of understanding, people become far more willing to understand you in return. That's why Covey says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Notice the sequence: first understand. Because genuine influence comes from first connecting at the heart level, not just exchanging words. Bringing it together. Habit 5 is about slowing down, listening deeply, and valuing connection over quick fixes. Practice empathic listening. Move beyond the lower levels of listening to truly understand. Diagnose before you prescribe. Remember, when people feel heard, they are far more open to hearing you. This habit transforms relationships. It turns conversations from arguments into dialogues, and from transactions into connections. And once understanding is established, we can unlock the full potential of working together. That's what Habit 6 is all about: synergize. Habit 6, synergize. If Habit 4 taught us to think win-win, and Habit 5 taught us to understand before being understood, then Habit 6 takes us to the next level: synergize. Synergy is about creating outcomes that are better than what any individual could achieve alone. It's about combining strengths, respecting differences, and arriving at solutions that are greater than the sum of the parts. Covey puts it simply: Synergy means 1 plus 1 is equal to 3 or more. Valuing differences to create better solutions. Most people see differences as threats. We get uncomfortable when others think, act, or believe differently than we do. But Covey argues that differences are not weaknesses, they're opportunities. Synergy begins with a mindset shift. Instead of tolerating differences, we value them. We recognize that your perspective, even if it clashes with mine, may hold a piece of truth I don't see. Imagine two people trying to solve a problem. One is highly analytical, focused on facts and data. The other is intuitive, focused on feelings and possibilities. Alone, each has blind spots. But together, if they respect each other, they can create a solution that is both logical and humane, both effective and inspiring. That's the power of synergy. Synergy as 1 plus 1 is equal to 3 or more. The math of synergy is not literal, it's symbolic. When two or more people collaborate creatively, they don't just add their contributions together. They multiply them. Think of music. One instrument alone may sound beautiful, but when blended with others in harmony, something richer and fuller emerges. In human relationships, synergy works the same way. By combining our strengths, compensating for each other's weaknesses, and building on diverse perspectives, we unlock possibilities none of us could achieve alone. Synergy in teams, families, and organizations. Let's explore a few contexts where synergy shows its power. Teams at work. A team where everyone thinks alike is limited. But a team with diverse backgrounds, engineers, marketers, creatives, strategists, can create innovative solutions by leveraging their differences. The best organizations harness this diversity rather than suppressing it. Families, parents, and children often see life very differently. Parents bring wisdom and experience. Children bring fresh ideas and new perspectives. Families that value these differences rather than clashing over them often find creative ways to solve problems, whether it's planning finances, navigating challenges, or supporting one another. Organizations. Some of the most groundbreaking innovations in history have come from collaboration across fields. When people from different disciplines, science, art, business, and technology, come together, they create something that no single expert could have produced alone. Synergy is what turns conflict into cooperation, and diversity into strength. Creative cooperation examples. Here are some practical examples of synergy in action. Negotiations. Instead of settling for a compromise where each side gives up something, a synergistic negotiation finds a third alternative, a solution where both sides actually gain more than expected. Education. A teacher working with students may discover new teaching methods by listening to their struggles and experimenting with their feedback. Together, they create a learning environment that works better than traditional one-way instruction. Community projects. When citizens, businesses, and governments collaborate, they often find solutions to social problems, like poverty, healthcare, or sustainability, that no single group could solve alone. The common thread? People stop trying to win against each other, and start creating with each other. Bringing it together. Habit 6, Synergize, is the culmination of the public victory. It teaches us to value differences rather than fear them. It reminds us that synergy is about creating more together than we could alone. It shows us that cooperation, not competition, is the path to innovation and strong relationships. When you live Habit 6, you stop seeing others as obstacles and start seeing them as partners in creativity. With synergy, we complete the 3 habits of interdependence. Together, Habits 4, 5, and 6 give us the tools to build strong, lasting, and effective relationships. But the journey isn't over. To sustain all of this growth, both private and public victories, we need one final habit. The habit that renews, refreshes, and empowers all the others. That's Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. We've come to the final habit in Stephen Covey's framework. Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. If Habits 1 through 6 help us build personal effectiveness and strong relationships, Habit 7 is what sustains them. It's about renewal, regularly recharging yourself so you can keep growing and living effectively. Covey describes it with a simple metaphor. Imagine you're cutting down a tree with a saw. After a while, the blade grows dull. You could keep sawing harder and harder, but it would take more effort and get less result. Or you could stop for a while, sharpen the saw, and then continue with far greater efficiency. Habit 7 is about taking the time to sharpen yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The 4 dimensions of renewal. Covey breaks down sharpening the saw into 4 essential areas of life. 1. Physical renewal, caring for your body. 2. Mental renewal, feeding your mind. 3. Emotional/social renewal, strengthening your relationships. 4. Spiritual renewal, grounding yourself in values and purpose. Let's look at each one. 1. Physical renewal. This is about taking care of your body so you have the strength and energy to live effectively. It includes exercise, building endurance, flexibility, and strength. Nutrition, fueling your body with healthy, balanced food. Rest and recovery, getting enough sleep, relaxation, and downtime. Too often, people neglect this dimension, working harder and harder while ignoring their health. But when you sharpen your physical saw, your productivity, energy, and overall quality of life improve dramatically. 2. Mental renewal. Our minds, like our bodies, need regular exercise. Mental sharpening means continuous learning, expanding your knowledge, and keeping your mind sharp. Read good books. Challenge yourself with new skills. Write, reflect, and engage in meaningful discussions. In a world of constant distractions, this also means protecting your attention. Instead of consuming endless streams of shallow content, choose activities that genuinely stimulate your growth. As Covey puts it, education doesn't stop after school. Lifelong learning is essential for effectiveness. 3. Emotional/social renewal. This dimension is about relationships, empathy, and connection. It's living out habits 4, 5, and 6 in your daily life. Practicing win-win thinking. Listening with empathy. Building synergy in teams and families. Emotional renewal means investing time in your relationships. It means expressing love, resolving conflicts, and creating trust. When our relationships are strong, we're more resilient and fulfilled. When they're weak, even our greatest achievements can feel empty. 4. Spiritual renewal. Finally, spiritual renewal is about connecting to your deepest values and highest purpose. This doesn't necessarily mean religion, though for some it may. It's about grounding yourself in timeless principles and reflecting on what really matters. Spend time in nature. Meditate or pray. Journal about your purpose and goals. Seek inspiration through art, music, or scripture. Spiritual renewal gives you direction, meaning, and inner strength. It keeps you aligned with principles bigger than yourself. Balance and regular practice. The key to sharpening the saw is balance. Neglect one dimension, and the others suffer. You might be physically fit but spiritually empty. Or mentally sharp but emotionally disconnected. Regularly renewing all 4 areas keeps you balanced, effective, and resilient. And here's the beautiful thing: sharpening the saw is not selfish. It's the opposite. By renewing yourself, you increase your ability to serve others, to work effectively, and to live fully. The upward spiral. Covey describes personal growth as an upward spiral. Every time you sharpen the saw, you don't just maintain your current level, you expand your capacity. You become stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more effective. This upward spiral is fueled by 3 constants: learning, commitment, and doing. Learn new principles and truths. Commit to living by them. Act on them consistently. With each turn of the spiral, your life becomes more principle-centered, more effective, and more impactful. Bringing it together. Habit 7 is the habit that makes all the others possible. Without renewal, we burn out, lose focus, and slip back into old patterns. With renewal, we maintain energy, clarity, and resilience to keep living the 7 habits every day. So ask yourself, how am I sharpening my body? How am I sharpening my mind? How am I nurturing my relationships? How am I feeding my spirit? Small, consistent practices in each of these areas will multiply your effectiveness and enrich your life. Closing thought. Remember, the key to effectiveness is not to work harder and harder with a dull saw, but to step back, renew, and come back sharper. Sharpening the saw is not an extra task, it's the foundation of a sustainable, effective life. Conclusion and integration. We've now journeyed through Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a timeless framework that has helped millions of people transform their lives, relationships, and leadership. Before we close, let's take a moment to integrate everything we've learned. Summary of the 7 habits. 1. Be proactive, take responsibility. Focus on what you can influence instead of what you can't. 2. Begin with the end in mind. Live with vision and purpose. Create a personal mission statement to guide your life. 3. Put first things first. Prioritize what matters most. Organize your time and energy around importance, not urgency. These first 3 habits are about private victory, mastering yourself and moving from dependence to independence. 4. Think win-win. Approach relationships with an abundance mindset, where everyone can benefit. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Practice empathic listening. Connect with people before trying to influence them. 6. Synergize, value differences. Collaborate creatively to produce results greater than what individuals could achieve alone. These habits build the public victory, moving from independence to interdependence, where true effectiveness in relationships and teams is found. 7. Sharpen the saw. Renew yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This is the habit of self-care and continuous improvement, the one that sustains all the others. Together, these 7 habits form a cycle of growth, effectiveness, and renewal. The habits are sequential and interconnected. One of Covey's key insights is that the habits are not random tips. They are sequential, building one upon another. You can't achieve true synergy with others if you haven't first taken responsibility for your own choices. You can't deeply influence others if you haven't learned to listen with empathy. You can't maintain effectiveness long-term if you don't renew yourself regularly. Each habit reinforces the others, creating a powerful framework for lifelong growth. Think of it like climbing a ladder. Habits 1 to 3 take you up the rungs of independence. Habits 4 to 6 lift you into interdependence, where you achieve greater results with others. Habit 7 sharpens the ladder itself, ensuring it stays strong and usable. Start small, focus on daily application. Now, here's the truth: transformation doesn't happen overnight. Covey reminds us that these habits are not quick fixes. They are principle-centered practices that grow with time and repetition. Start small. Choose one habit that resonates most with you right now. Maybe it's being more proactive. Maybe it's focusing on what matters most. Or maybe it's listening more deeply to others. Apply it in daily life, one conversation, one choice, one action at a time. The power of the 7 habits comes not from knowing them, but from living them consistently. Lasting transformation comes from character, not quick fixes. In a world obsessed with shortcuts and hacks, Covey's message is refreshingly timeless. True effectiveness is built on character. It's not about personality tricks or manipulative techniques. It's about aligning your life with principles, honesty, responsibility, respect, service, and growth. When you change from the inside out, your results change naturally. You become more trusted, more capable, more resilient. Your influence grows, not because you force it, but because it flows from who you are. That's the lasting power of the 7 habits. Final words and call to action. So as you step away from this audiobook summary, remember, effectiveness is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Keep practicing. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. If you commit to living even one habit consistently, you'll notice real shifts in your effectiveness and fulfillment. Live them all, and you'll unlock a life of true principle-centered success. Thank you for listening to this summary of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. If you found this helpful, Make sure to share this audiobook with someone who could benefit from it, and hit subscribe for more powerful book summaries and personal growth content. Here's to your effectiveness, your growth, and your journey toward becoming your best self.